Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cosmere Connections. We're a collective of book-loving nerds rereading Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. From book 1 to book 16 million, we'll be uncovering every secret connection there is to find. Today, we are joined by Swiggity Swoo in voice only.
Yeah, my computer couldn't handle taking video of me because I have 14 tabs of Unity open.
Boy. John.
Shiny math rocks go click clack.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
And I'm ReaderWarrior, and today we are going to be covering the Epilogue Day 101 of The Emperor's Soul. And so just to get right into it, we're going to go straight into Frava's Machinations. John, I believe that is yours.
Why? Yes, it is.
Oh, very nice.
So, we start off day 101 as Ashravan is addressing the Arbiters and explaining his time away and his intent to seek revenge for the death of his wife. Though he was a lot more cordial about it than just being like, "I'm going to get you, Batman!" Frava is sitting in the back, kind of wondering about what backdoors Shai might have programmed into his brain. She and Gaotana are kind of sitting back, and they conspire back and forth about what they did for a little bit. And Frava regrets her lack of progress in her manipulations of the Emperor, that she felt she was finally starting to make progress on before his wounding way back on day -4, or whatever. They talk about the things that seem right about him and the things that, they worry about. And Gaotana says, even makes a comment like, this is like the old Ashravan from 10 years ago, He's kind of refound himself a little bit, and he kind of gets a little prideful dad moment where he's like kind of idolizing, or not idolizing, but like reveling in the good job that Shai did, and
right, he's back to his old self a little bit, right?
In a way, yeah. And Frava's like, "Oh, she's gonna come back and try to blackmail us or whatever." And Gaotana's like, no, that would spoil everything, and for her, it's just enough to have one of her works be witnessed by millions and not even be the wiser. And she's like, "You're so naive." And she starts planning how she's going to start manipulating Gaotana and Ashravan all over again from square one. When a messenger comes to tell something to Frava, but we don't really see what. She's like, the messenger child is like, "Have you been to the rooms?" And Frava's like, "No, why?" And then it goes to the next section, all dramatic like.
And then we cut to Shai.
Yeah. I knew Frava was not a nice person, and we saw that throughout the novella. Like, this thing really just... Any points I had towards Frava immediately plummeted to nothing.
I mean, she is kind of the mustache-twirling bad guy.
Mm.
Yeah,
and, like, she's got people already... Like, she's already trying to figure out how to... Okay, well, no, he's basically running on programming. It's gonna take us a while, but we can still hack into it at some point.
Right. She does mention that she's got her own forgers looking into how they can, like, backtrack and decipher the code.
And there's, like, a little bit where Frava's like, "I wonder if Shai knew that I was not just taking the stuff to be copied." She's like, "Nah, Shai wasn't that smart."
Yeah.
Oh, how little you know. Oh, wait.
Shai knew the whole time.
The whole time? That's all I got in this section.
Yep. Moving along.
Okay, cut to Shai. So Shai has escaped the city. She is riding on the back of a horse that she has actually, she has soul stamped. Sorry, she has soul stamped the
Bless you.
horse, to make it look like emaciated and look very run down and very like not taken care of. So she did that to the horse while she also used her beggar soul stamp on herself to hide out in the streets and make her way through the streets to then escape the city. So, but we look back and she looks back and on the back of the horse is the painting from Frava's office that Shai, the forgery that Shai had made and snuck into Frava's office. She went back and she took the painting out of the frame. She left the frame up on the wall and she drew the Aeon Reo
Punishment.
on the wall. Or Rio. The Aeon Rio on the wall. Behind where the painting was.
Which it seems like it was kind of a derogatory Aeon at this point too. Like,
yeah, what is the Aeon Rio again, Reader? I assume you looked this up. Punishment.
Punishment, as in like the Reread, and I believe it's what Draok Crushthroat had on his axe.
oh, nice.
Nice callback.
Yeah, nice. So she drew that on the back of the wall after she took the painting, and she's also thinking about the Emperor and how she is like really happy about how the forgery turned out. That she thinks of it like as like this is her like crowning work. This is like the thing that she will always think of as like the most impressive thing that she has ever done. And she is really hoping that Ashravan will do well. That he'll make things better.
And that, like, do you guys think eventually he's gonna not really need the soul stamp every day? Do you think it'll take?
Yeah.
I think there's a strong possibility of it. It's we don't know. We don't have a way to gauge how much.
I think not
Spoilery. Spoilery. I have a spoilery answer. Sorry.
I don't think we have a good way to gauge it in like, set rules, but a lot of what we saw throughout Shai's imprisonment was things want to be the best versions of themselves. The wall wants to be beautiful. The glass wants to be as colorful as it can. Everything wants to be the best thing possible. Why can't the soul stamp of a person make somebody want that? I think when they want that, when they internalize, I am going to do this, is when it'll lock in and it will never need to be repressed. I
also think it might be easier. It might be more likely for it to happen to Ashravan because he doesn't really have another personality. Like he doesn't have something that the soul stamp is like rewriting. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else for that section?
I guess I totally get where Shai's coming from, of like feeling proud of her work being in front of everybody. Like, imagine if you could somehow like replace a great work of art with your own and nobody knew. That would be so satisfying. Imagine if you could re-record a song and put it on the radio and everybody just thought it was the same.
That would be like there was I just saw an article about this. I think Russia or the USSR gifted the United States this giant wooden plaque that they hung up at the Pentagon for years, and apparently it had like a listening device in it the entire time.
Oh no.
So like I imagine every single time like they turn that sucker on, they're like, man, this is the absolute greatest thing ever. Or if they were ever like walking past and saw it, they're like, suckers.
Yeah, literally.
I get sort of that feeling.
Right? Like
But
she must think
less
she's
evil.
the coolest. She must think she's the hottest shit right now. Just like going around.
She's
But at the
proud
same
and
time,
she should
like,
be.
but she's proud of it. She's never gonna tell anyone about it. Like, no one will know that she did this. It's just for her. It's very much. This is why Frava doesn't understand her, because Frava can't understand wanting to just
Silent
do
glory.
something. Yeah, to have silent glory. Frava feels like she needs gratification from other people. Shai doesn't feel that need. Shai is just going to do what she thinks is the best for her.
That's interesting.
I almost wonder if like on whatever instance it may happen in this hypothetical, if like Gaotana and Shai were to meet again, would she just say, I've never met you before, I have no idea what you're talking about, and he's trying to ask about something pertaining to Ashravan, and she just plays it like she has no idea what he's talking about?
I think it would depend on the context.
Well, that kind of ties
I
into.
think that would greatly depend on the context and who was around them.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Hit it.
Gaotana's book hour. After Ashravan's speech, Gaotana returns home and inspects Shai's workbook. The Emperor's soul stamp held no secret triggers, no hidden controls, but she had taken some liberties. Ashravan, after his near-death experience, would reevaluate himself and become, slowly and over years, a better version of himself. Instead of forging a copy of who he was, Shai forged what he wanted to be, an emperor to be remembered with true greatness. All Shai had to do was point him to the path. And as Gaotana read the details and tiny changes she had incorporated into this improved emperor, he found tears in his eyes. He finally understood that her works were a beautiful masterpiece. Gaotana spent all night experiencing the paradox of art that is hidden but in worship. Then, when the new day came, Gaotana grabbed the book and burned it, the proof of her legacy, gone just as she would have wanted.
I thought it was nice that he burned it.
And to call upon, like, when she told him she burnt the original work of art that was hanging up there, he was completely aghast by it. He was like, how dare you destroy something so masterful?
Right? He pretty much lost his mind.
Mm-hmm. And
then
now
he ended
he
up-
completely understands.
Yeah, he ended up doing it for Shai.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that Shai didn't change any of the memories. She didn't add anything new to any of the memories. She didn't alter the memories themselves. With Ashran, all she did was emphasize certain ones just a little bit more and de-emphasize other ones of his. Like, she kept all the memories in there, though, as intact as she could from what she knew.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. It's kind of like, it's not even what you experience in life, it's more like what you focus on at the end of the day.
The best part about it is, like, this is something that any person can do. It's just the magic allows someone to do it without needing to pick up, oh, why do you like this thing so much? Well, because it's tied into this. Okay, but that's not really a good thing. And this allows her to say, these are your best qualities. I'm going to enhance those. Sure, you prioritized going to all these luncheons, enjoying meeting with all these people, but that wasn't what made you a good emperor. That wasn't what you wanted to be. And she was able to dilute those a bit. It's something anybody can do. Anybody can stop, look back, check themselves, see if they want to be going on a better path.
I admire your optimism.
Sure. Okay.
People can change. They have to be willing to change, but in this case, like he wasn't necessarily willing to change without that push that Shai had. Shai pushed him just that little bit to get him to be what he could be.
My final note about this really is that Gaotana, she did not tell him to burn the book. When she burned the painting, it was because she was told by its maker, the artist, I do not want this to exist. It represents something that was meant to be for someone, and now it's being glorified by the empire that I don't like. She did not say, here, Gaotana, here's my workbook, just so you can check it out and then burn it.
But he knew that, he knew that that's what she wanted. I just started interrupting you and going on with what you were going to say. You can finish your thought.
I feel like I do it to you enough. You can do it.
Like, he knew that Shai gave this book to him and only to him. It was only for his eyes. And I think he might have known, like, in his heart, like, he knew that he couldn't necessarily be trusted to keep this book by himself. Like, so he had to give it away. Like, he had to burn it. Otherwise, he might have been tempted to share it with others. And he knew that that wasn't what Shai would have wanted as well. That's my thought.
Or like John I had never really pieced it together, but he was a heritage faction person. He could have, in his mind, he could have easily justified, I'm going to put it somewhere safe in storage, never going to touch it, but I still don't want it destroyed. And then hundreds of years down the line, what if somebody finds it?
Yeah.
Well, as long as Ashravan's reign has ended when it gets found, it probably wouldn't be too detrimental. But it might have repercussions against, the heritage faction at that point, should it still exist.
Possibly. Or what if, like, have you seen the Dark Knight Rises movie?
Of course.
Like, remember the scene where Bane reads off the letter that talks about what Harvey Dent really ended up like, and how that completely caused everything to go into chaos?
Mm-hmm. Well, right,
Kinda
but
like
that's if it was found within the time of Ashravan's reign, basically.
Yeah.
That would be a catastrophe.
Yeah, that would very much be.
I mean,
Okay.
imagine if, like, one of our presidents had, like, a very serious accident or something, right? And after that, they came back in full force and started making all these great policies and being really strong and totally turning around their leadership. And then later it was found out, yeah, I know. Later, you found out that their brain was replaced by, like, a program. That would just totally undo all of the cool things that they did.
Possibly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's half
Okay.
half trying to, like, honor her and respect her by burning it, and then the other half is just kind of saving their own skin a little bit, right?
Preservation of the system.
Yeah.
Burning the evidence.
Okay. Last time we talked, I had asked, do we want to rank this in comparison to all the other books we have read? Or do we want to put this in a novella list of its own?
This in Secret History, huh?
This, Secret History, Edge Dancer, Dawn Shard.
Shadows herself and Silence in the Forests of Hell.
Yeah, okay, there's more than I initially thought.
There will be like a good chunk of that. Do we want to save that for its own thing, or do we want to put this in with everything?
Honestly, even though this book is a novella, it holds up on its own. Like, it holds up really. It is so well written, and it is.
It won a Hugo Award.
Very, yeah. If we didn't mention that before, it won a Hugo Award.
I think it might have come up once or twice.
I'm not too certain.
I don't know.
I wish more people knew this book and talked about it. It's kind of a shame that it's buried within Arcanum Unbounded.
Yeah. Well, let's rank it compared with actual books, because you can suck out all of the novellas from that and they'll already be in a list. But also, this book should be read by a lot more. Short, it's very good. It's a great understanding of like chromatics and the Cosmere system, and honestly, it's one of the better Cosmere stories.
Okay, if we're gonna do this, are we gonna do this as part of the spoilers, or like?
We're doing it based off the ones that we've read so far in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In relation to Elantris and the first 3 Mistborn books.
So we've got The Final Empire, Hero of Ages, Elantris, The Well of Ascension. Swiggity, do you want to go first?
I'm thinking I would put it. That is really tough. Probably just above Elantris.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking was right above Elantris, was my thought as well.
Same here. What about you, John?
This is the best of them so far.
Whoa.
Do you want to put this above Final Empire and Hero of Ages?
I do. Not by a huge, enormous margin or anything, but Hero of Ages, Well of Ascension, Final Empire, Elantris, these are all big, chewy, kind of meaty reads, right? It's a little lighter, it's a little faster, it's got just as much mystery and intrigue buried into it, it's got just as much kind of implication to the greater Cosmere built into it. Without going into potential spoilers, it has the same relevance as those other books in an living space.
Right.
I agree, it has a lot of that mystery and I don't think it compares to the Hero of Ages being the culmination of 3 books.
I think it's really hard to compare this short standalone book to like the trilogy, to like the Mistborn trilogy, because the Mistborn books are so much longer, and there's 3 of them. You can get more in depth with things, versus this book, which kind of it's skimming the surface of what you can do with the soul stamps in this magic system. We don't get into a lot of like more things that you can do. Like, we're just being introduced to it, which, to be fair, we are introduced to some really cool things that it can do.
But that's kind of my point, right? Like, as an entire contained story, you have Elantris, you have Mistborn 1, and you have this. And despite the length of Elantris and the trilogy of Mistborn, we have a well-rounded, well-thought-out, fully functioning magic system with ties to the greater Cosmere, and all of that stuff crammed down into, 100 pages or something? Like, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, I love my Chihuahua Killer novels. Like, we're gonna get there someday, right, reader? We're gonna get there someday.
Mm-hmm. We will.
But
130 pages.
I feel like there is a almost miraculous amount of stuff crammed into those 130 pages, and it's just fun.
I don't deny that it does have an amazing level of story, an amazing characterization, magic system. I don't think it, unless we get like a sequel, or maybe, I mean, there is talks about a movie being in the works for this story currently, and that Brandon was talking about giving the rights off again.
Yeah,
always
well.
talks about movies. I wouldn't really.
Yeah,
That
but
doesn't
like,
mean anything.
I don't think a 123 page short story that only has like, it's a bottle episode. It is, we're in one room for pretty much 9/10 of it.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
not a bad
it's
thing,
a room
but
that
it's just
changes over time.
there's just so much
that's a whole
more.
different part of the story that we never really. I mean, we kind of touched on it, but like that's a whole nother element of the story.
So where as a collective do we want to place it?
I mean, I said my piece.
Yeah, I like kind of where I said it was, obviously, but John had some really good points of just like in terms of spectacle, this book might not have like any. It only has like one action scene, and it's not like you're zooming around from village to village like you are in some of the other books. So it is kind of focused in that way, but like still has all this crazy story and like, and honestly world building and backstory and a lot of depth to it, actually.
And
But
despite that, it never gets boring.
Mhm.
I feel like The Emperor's Soul is like a really good Star Trek episode. Like one of the really good ones that just sort of deals with a main moral or some testament of a human nature, whilst everything else we've read so far has been like a blockbuster movie.
and I think there's something to that blockbuster movie, like that takes a lot, out of a person to write a blockbuster novel like that. And Brandon, that's his bread and butter. Like, from the way I see it, like his ability to throw together these stories that have all these connections and all these characters that all works and ties together is just amazing, and that's something you're not getting from any other author right now. So like, I tend to lean towards putting the bigger series up a little bit higher.
Kay, would you like any final words on where you think it should be? Has John swayed, or
I don't think he's necessarily swayed me. I still think that it should go where it goes, where I said. But I mean, that's not to say that I don't really like this book, because I do really like this book a lot.
Right. We wouldn't be here if we
Like,
didn't.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
stuff.
like, I really like it, but I'm also very partial to Mistborn. So like, that's also
That's my thing too. Is it's like I just have such a soft spot for Mistborn, especially the first era.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
totally valid. Like, this is opinion. We are allowed them.
So, John, I'm afraid I'm gonna
I think
put it
you've been
on our ranking
outvoted.
system.
And that's fine. That's fine.
So, currently, our ranking of the Cosmere series, as we've read, is the Final Empire, the Emperor's Soul, Elantris, and the Well of Ascension.
If you
Yay.
disagree with our order for our rankings, let us
tell us
know
in
in
the
the comments.
Drop us a line.
Feel free. We will battle.
And tell us why. Tell us what you think
Well-
your rankings should be.
Do we have any final thoughts on this? You unanimously agreed. Amazing. Hugo winning novella.
Did you guys enjoy reading it this time around? I know I really did. Like, I've read it before, and the second time was even better.
So, small confession, I actually ended up reading this 3 or 4 times over the course because I was just like not paying attention and just accidentally finished it. So I would say, yeah, I got my credits, my Audible credits worth. This episode, by the way, not sponsored by Audible, unless you're looking to sponsor some podcasts.
You hear that,
Wink,
Jeff?
wink, nudge, nudge.
I remember buying Arcanum Unbounded, and this is like the first thing in the book, I believe.
Yeah,
If not,
it is.
not the and like being so lost and confused because this was when I was first getting into the Cosmere, and I had like, which planet is this even on? What is this tied to? But even without that, it still was an amazing story about defining what a person is and what all we can become if we really want to be.
Yeah. So I originally read Emperor's Soul when it first came out. I know, shocker that.
You really?
Yeah, I read it when it first came out, and I definitely didn't grasp the full like context of it. Like I didn't understand how, like, I didn't realize that it was like really giving a basis for Cosmere Bound came out, which was after Words of Radiance was released. So the first 2 Stormlight books had come out by the time that Arcanum Unbound came out. And so I had more knowledge of the realmatics and the way that it was working, and I read through Emperor's Soul again, and I was like, oh my god, this has so much romantic theory in it, like, and it's just all laid out for you. It's like, that's crazy. How did I miss this?
Huge ties to investigator, the nature of identity and connection.
Yeah.
And that right there is why this novella won a Hugo Award.
Yeah.
Yes. It was at this point that our recording software decided to glitch out. And while I did try to forge the episode with a soul stamp to make it complete, unfortunately the stamp just wouldn't take. So here's me with a final message, basically saying that the episode was pretty much over anyways. If you're wondering what's next for Cosmere Connections, we're going to be heading into Mistborn Era 2, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for everyone who stuck with us so far. Remember, there's always another connection.
I didn't prepare for this, and I am working. So enjoy your podcast.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, nothing newsworthy happens. Oh, okay,
He's gone.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, he's back.
he goes, you were saying?
Sorry, what was that?
Hopefully, nothing newsworthy happens.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.